Hey guys, it's Allison from Allison Answers. Welcome to our show. Hey guys, it is Allison from Allison Answers with Ryan Albrecht, my
Hello.
sidekick and good friend. Hey Ryan, how are you
Hello.
today? See how
All
I
good.
introduced you so nicely?
Look at that. After last week's
Debacle.
guilt trip yourself, where
I totally guilted myself.
yeah.
I literally woke up in the middle of the night like, wow, you're selfish.
I forgot.
And it was like, I'm a very, very, very bad person. You know, the middle of the night, the voice. Allison,
That voice that'll take
done.
you back 20 years, and it's like, do you remember what you did when you were 14?
You've
like,
always been selfish. You've always stolen the show. Yeah. Yeah, because I was always so outgoing, you know, when I was a kid. I was like, and all the other kids were like maybe quiet. I'd have a friend that was super quiet, and they'd be like, Allison, I just told a joke. You repeated it, and everybody laughed. And nobody laughed when I said it. I'm like, oh, God, I'm so sorry.
Well,
Yeah. So it's like, but I'm bummed. Like,
guy. Yeah.
but I'm the one who does it to them. Okay, guys, how are you today? We want to welcome you to our show. We have a few things. We never really know exactly what we're going to talk about because we want this to be very down to earth. We want you to know that just that we're real people with real issues, real life, and we want to make life better for you. That's our mission. I always want to begin with letting you know what our mission is. It is Mission Awake. Our goal is, number one, is to help any person get a leg up wherever they are. Do you hear my dog barking? Right in the middle of this. Okay.
Pepper.
And she's deaf too, so she won't even hear me tell her to be quiet. So she'll be barking through the entire broadcast. But anyhow, so that's how real it is here. But anyhow, so what I want to tell you is that it is super important if you know somebody who needs to be awoken. My dog's right here to do it for you. So if you need someone, hold on. Doxy, there's nobody here. She's probably barking at a butterfly. Doxy, come here. Hey. Oh, should I stop this? No, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so guys, our mission is that really honestly is that we want to be able to convince and wake up people away from the idea that in order to be liked, in order to have relationships, in order to live a life that fits in with our society, our culture, our friends, that we have to be mediocre. And we are 100% against it. My absolute mission is to say that it is our obligation to succeed in every way. And you know, as soon as people hear the word success, they think we're talking just about money. And I'm not going to apologize for talking about money because it's just paper, it's a concept. And anybody who's thinking too much about it is really probably because they have an issue with it. But anyhow, so success is about all areas of our life. And we are here, we get one go around here, and why not make it the best go around possible, meaning that we care for and love and reach as many people as possible, that we make a difference everywhere we go, that everything we do actually makes a difference and has meaning. Why just throw away our lives because it fits in better with society? I'm here to tell you that's a mistake. And I believe also it's a mistake, not just from a standpoint of just basic excellence. It's a mistake if you have any kind of faith in any kind of God anywhere. If you believe in any kind of higher power, it's a mistake. Because if you look at the incredible excellence that people, human beings achieve, there's only about 1% of the population, even maybe 3% now, considers reaching higher than their counterparts, the people around them. To me, if it hasn't been done and you want to do it, reach for it, because people have been doing things that everyone said couldn't be done forever, and it keeps happening, and we're made as creators. And so that's that. That's our mission, is mission awake. What that means is we have core beliefs that block us. We have addicted feelings that block us. We have thought distortions that continue to play constantly, right? Written stories that are inside our head that we attach to everything that we experience around us. And then we do the same thing that we did yesterday and create the same mediocre life that we had yesterday. So I'm asking you, if you want to follow us, I want to do a mission here. I really want to be missional in this. And I believe that we can do it. And as many people who will join us, we want you to come and invite other people. We don't get anything from this. We get our hearts filled from it because we're missional and we want to be the best we can be. So it's not like, Ryan and I actually have jobs. This is not our job. We don't make money from this. I'm just letting you know. Bottom line is, we do really ask that you would subscribe, that you would, write a review. We're okay with, and if you have questions and you want to write in the comments, we want to even like connect with you. If there are people out there that like really feel like you have something that you want to say, we'll have Ryan interview you to see if you're not a crackpot first, but we have to make sure. But we want to make a difference on this earth. And if you want to make a difference on this earth, we hope you'll join us. And this is important to us. We were just discussing this prior to getting on record. So I have to make sure I'm recording on everything. Am I? Okay, good. I did that one time with Ryan. We did like a whole, right? We did a whole podcast. It wasn't recording.
Nope.
I was so mad. So frustrating. Okay, it was a good talk though.
Yeah, it was a good talk. We learn as we go, I think.
Yeah, exactly. See? Positive. That's
go.
what we need to be. Okay, so I have a few things, just to segue, what I was going to talk about today was that the power of thought, and that it's actually biologically true that thought is actually has the power to change our genetic expression, that we are not bound to the genes that we're born with. There's something called a gene myth. And what that means is that people are walking around saying, I was just born this way. That's just the way he is. I am, what is it called? I'm like that's the way my parents were. No, really, actually, our thoughts, every time we have a thought, every time we learn something new, every time something happens in our life and the way we think about it and perceive about it, that can unlock. It's actually something that Carolyn Leaf talks about. It unzips the DNA. It actually like unzips the DNA to allow for a different genetic expression of our genes, and then allow for the production of proteins. And really, the way that a person thinks is exactly the results that they're going to get. This is going to be like, what was that word, Ryan? It's like, I said evolutionary, revolutionary. It's something where our entire world, the whole face of the medical community, the whole face of business, the whole face of any type of human interaction is going to change, because people are going to start to see this. And that's what we want people to see, that what is really blocking people from the things that they want in their life. Why are so many damn people unhappy, right? And then their unhappiness produces thoughts that produce more unhappiness. And it's like basically spiraling down a toilet. And we want to, I see the visual. Ryan and I have our like ropes and pulleys, and we're throwing it little life jackets into the toilet, and we're reeling people back up out of the stinking toilet so they wake up. Like, you don't have to go there. You actually can jump off the side of the toilet bowl and dive out and fly into an ocean. Stop me, Ryan. It's the dog. The dog's
can't.
driving me crazy. Ryan, I want you to talk to the people why I am
Okay.
literally getting up right now and I'm going to kick that dog's ass. No, I'm just kidding. I swear, no animal activist. I swear I have 6 dogs. I couldn't love them more, except when I don't.
It's the miracle
Ryan's
of
going to
editing.
talk.
So do
You
what
talk.
need
I'm
to do.
listening. I got to stop this dog.
Go ahead.
Okay. Don't all watch me go. I usually hide my whole self.
So I keep forgetting we can edit the whole podcast, but we can't edit your video.
No, we can't edit the video. So everybody's going to watch. Alice, I'll be very nice to the dog. Hold on. Ryan, talk. Be nice to the people. I'll be right
nice
there.
to the people. The irony here is that she takes up so much space talking that I don't even know what to talk about. I do love these dogs so very, very much. Pepper is my favorite, and Doxy is the barker here. So I've just gone for a newscaster role.
I'm back.
So
You
I
talking?
play-by-played. Yeah, I just play-by-played that was Pepper, and there's Doxy.
It was Doxy who was barking.
Oh yeah, no, but then little Pepper came in screen. One of my favorites.
Oh yeah, Pepper Patch.
Pepper Patch.
Pepper Patch and
The
Doxy.
sweetest
And
anxiety-ridden dog I've ever met.
she totally is riddled with anxiety. We have
so
these.
Funny.
Yeah, my husband calls her Shakes. Shakes the clown. But she's really very nervous. But you know what? When she's here, she's good. I bring her to work with me because we have 4 other dogs that are wild maniacs, and they're so much smaller than them. I don't want them to get like trampled on.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. So anyhow,
I love
back to what we were talking about. Ryan and I, when we were talking about we were actually ironically discussing, and then of course I want you to talk to Ryan. We were talking because I don't want to be selfish. Okay. So we were talking about how Danielle, who works for me, who does marketing, and she's like, Allison, you have to ask people to subscribe, and you should be telling people about your digital program. You should be telling people about blah, blah, blah. And Ryan and I were just talking about that prior to the show because I never do that because I've been in business for more than 30 years. I don't even know how long. But basically, I never advertised. I never marketed. It's just not a thing I did because it feels awkward to me. It's like, saying, could you just follow me because I'm so great? And then we were discussing that. And Ryan's in a band. You know, he's also a worship leader in a church. And he's like really, I was saying it some other time, Ryan's like an amazing singer. And he's like developed this voice over this last, I don't know, it's like a couple of years. I'm like, where did that come from, that voice? It's like really good now. But it was good before, but now it's like exceptionally good, like noticeably good.
Oh, thanks.
No, it is.
It was rough going in the beginning. I almost quit when I started. I remember the first time I was going to sing, and I was like, I'm not going to do this now. I was like,
but you know
the guy
what?
who was recording is a good singer, and I was like, Warren, how about you sing? And I'll just stick with the guitar. He's like, no, I think you have things to say, and we're going to get through this. And that was only 3 years ago.
Really? And that was Warren. See, I didn't know Warren sang. Now, let me tell you something about it. You see what Ryan just said? Ryan just gave an example. Because how many of us, we start, this happens to me too, because when I'm going to start and I'm going to do something that I haven't done before, I haven't done a podcast before. There's so many things. Like a lot of times I wanted to stop this podcast. I didn't ever told you that, Ryan, because I'm like, oh my God, like who's really going to want to listen to us rant, you know? And when you're talking about, you know, singing, like if you stopped right there, really literally, Ryan, I remember hearing you sing like 3 years ago and you had a good voice, but really literally it really changed like to being like, and so think if you stopped there and that was your inclination. You know, there's this thing they talk about where there's an audit, and this actually happened. They did a study that there was an auditorium filled with children, and they asked the children, who in here can sing? And all of them raised their hands. And then who can sculpt? They all raise their hands. Who can dance? Who can whatever? Who can run really fast? And then they did the same exact questions for a room full of adults. Who can sing? Maybe a handful. Who's an artist? Maybe 3,
Yeah.
and basically over time, the truth about us, about our creativity, our magnificence, our excellence, just is slowly like water on a rock, just, you know, taken away. It's eliminated from our life. And I feel like this is that's why it's a mission. Like if like even just you being with us here and listening to us, this is like an example of 2 people who I didn't know how to do a podcast.
Neither did
I still don't know how to do a podcast. My dog's barking. We have the equipment. We don't really. I mean, but Ryan's good at electronics. He's a musician.
Didn't know how to do the program when we started, like how to edit. Like I'd never ventured into that area. My computer's 9 years old, so like I learned how to edit audio files and use a program specifically for this, and that was when we started. And now I can like. I was at the studio last night. Like I did a demo at home on the computer in the program, and then now it's turning into a song there, So like a lot of people limit their possible potential in anything because like the starting is difficult. Just like this podcast, like like you said, who's going to listen? Who's this? Like I do the same thing with music. Like how many people are listening? I don't know. Like I can go find the numbers and they can be very discouraging when you're like, oh, 3,000 listens. All right. But like that's growth, so I don't know.
You know what I'm reaching for?
Which one?
Not ready.
You're going to hit one of these buttons.
Bueller.
That's basically when we look to see who's listening. It's like, okay, is there anyone listening?
Bueller.
It's true.
But you know what, Ryan? Like, it's so amazing because we just segue into this, but we're just real people having a conversation. And the idea about, because I was going to talk about thoughts and how thoughts are literally physiologically things that are creative, and we're made to create. We are creators. We co-create. I'm a person of faith. I believe in God. So I believe that, as that I co-create with God. But the idea that human beings can create just with thought, good or bad. Like you could have chosen like to say, no, Warren, you just sing, you're better at it than me. But remember we're talking about like reaching look at the way our brain works. Our body is a record of memory, right? So all you had and all we had together in the podcast, all you had for music and all we had for the podcast was that what we didn't know. Right. So basically, in our record of memory, there was no information regarding how to move forward and do those things. So typically what people will do is they'll look at a future dream or a hope or I would love to do that. Now that's a whisper in their heart. I believe that was put there, but they reject that whisper, that they reject that destiny and that identity because they haven't yet wired their brain to do it. How can anybody expect to start something and not suck? It doesn't make sense. But we have this thing that we're like, okay, I don't know how to do it. Okay. So to me, I've never heard a more lame excuse. Like, okay, I want you to do that. I don't know how. Duh. Of course you don't. You've never done it. So then the first thing I think I would say this to you, there's Ryan's dog's barking.
Yeah, my dog's turn.
I feel better.
It's a chorus.
Yes. The thing is the way I think is that, okay, I choose to do something I've never done before all the time. And I just decide to do it. And then our brain stops fighting. The neuron clusters stop fighting one another and the decision's made. Then our brain, being a goal-driven machine, gets to work figuring out how to do it. I would say things like that to Ryan, just do this, right? What is your reaction to that? Originally, not now, I don't think.
Oh, originally it was, and then I would line up all the potential circumstances that could get in the way of me doing whatever it was. Right. Oh, school was when you first kind of kicked me in a direction, like, and I was like, oh, but if I do it, then like, how do I do this? And like, what about work? And like, if I go into a full-time program, because I need to do a full-time program, and what about this? And what about loans? And what about, and you just line them all up, and
Yes.
and then that's how you end up talking about a life goal for 2 years instead of doing it. And then the play out of it was much different. It was, all right, screw it. I'm going to park in a school parking lot and walk into a building and say, I'm interested in this and who can I talk to? And they sent me to another building. Someone sat me down and immediately informed me on things and then sent me over to the social work department, right? Like,
Yes.
in one impromptu 4:45 p.m. after work visit, and within 10 days I was accepted and changing my entire life. Like, that fast.
Exactly.
After years of like, I like to say it's prevaricating, right? You sit and then you hem and you haw over the whole thing. So, yeah,
You know what
that
I
was
think?
exactly how it was.
This is the whole entire problem. Well, not the only problem, but with human beings that are stuck in mediocrity. As soon as we think of a thought, it's natural. Our bodies, our brains are designed to look for trouble to keep us safe. So we naturally look for all the barriers to getting things done, or to that the reasons why we can't do it. Of course, there were a million reasons why we couldn't do the podcast because we didn't have any information. So how could we do it? We had to decide to do it. Then the information came. And it's the same thing. We forget, as soon as we settle the issue in our mind, we can go there. We had another thing we were segueing in when we were talking about, the idea of like promoting things, right? That's what we were originally talking about. And then you and I were talking about how there can be people who feel upset with us as we're succeeding, which is an interesting thought because, and I never thought that was true. I never thought that was possible. I used to think, about other people, let my ceiling be their floor. Like I want to raise people up higher than me. But, and Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, because I'm an Arate, this business syndicate that's for people who want to be a force for good on earth and want to change the face of business across the world. That's the mission that we're in. So basically, one of the things they have told us from beginning is that there are going to be people who are going to hate you. And as the closer, the higher you get, the more successful you get. And I never believed it. And it's real. I can't believe it's really true. It discourages me, but now I understand it. It's because we're not designed. That's not true. We have a tendency, I think we've learned that I can only be better than you or less than you. Like you can't be great and I can't be great too. Like you being great doesn't take away from me. But there's a fear of that because we believe that there's a limited supply of life. Because we believe, and that's a core belief that runs across like whole large people groups, And I think that when we believe, you know what I think of, Ryan? I think of, this is one of the things that changed me because I used to think if I'm successful, I'm taking away from other people. I used to think that in terms of money. I always thought money was somehow bad to have. But I remember someone or hearing, I think it was Jim Rohn, who talked about like, look at abundance. I think it was him, I'm not sure, but he talked about like a tree or anything that God makes or whatever you want to call it, like the universe or your higher power, anything that he makes or she makes. He's scared they're going to be mad at me. But anyhow, somebody's going to be mad no matter what I say. If I say he, then people who don't believe that are going to be mad at me. If I say he or she, then people who people got really mad at me. So anyhow, my side note, but think of the freaking apple tree. Anything that's produced by God produces more than is needed. There's rotten apples everywhere. You can't get enough of the harvest. And I think that we're forgetting that there's a lot available and there's enough to share and give.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
on
like
a rant now. Tell me
Well,
what you're thinking.
no, I'm thinking like you learn about social Darwinism when you're a kid, and
Explain it.
so it's like so the same idea that you would put to that evolutionary theory of like, oh, the strongest traits will out, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so the stronger animals will survive, those with the most adaptive
Mm-hmm.
traits that are stronger will survive. And then that was applied, by, ultimately men who are structurally in power as a social construct that, we're just better suited to this. That's why we have more, right? And that's why you should just kind of
Ah,
accept your lot where you're at,
yes.
and if you're not succeeding, it's because you're just not capable, right? You hadn't adapted like the rest of the more successful people, and it's crap, right? We know that that's 100% true, but it's still an undercurrent. I like to think of things in like a social psychology. It's one of my
Yeah.
fun little like
Yeah.
mental races I do with myself.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
that there's like a consciousness that exists, that we do inherit it through the
Mhm.
through the decades. You know, um, that's the history major in me, but like needs to know everything
Yeah.
that happened before to understand why. Um, but I believed it, right? That like simply sheer like strength of will get you everything, right? And it's like, well, that's not necessarily true, but like, some people are just born in a better position, right? And that's why they do better. And some people this, and some people that, and that's those thought processes you're talking about. And when you're talking, I was like, well, where do we hear this first? And it's like, oh, at home, generally
Yeah.
speaking. And it's not necessarily in a malign way. It could be like, I'm going to build a sick ramp for my bike. But Ryan, you shouldn't do that. Like, you don't know how to use the tools. You could get hurt, right? And these are valid concerns. As a parent, I would understand. I probably wouldn't want my young son building a ramp and shooting himself off at top speed, right? But, uh, but like you learn a limiting belief right off the bat.
Yes.
Everything I've ever done in my adult life, and I'm a late bloomer here, right? I'm 38 and I'm finally doing the things I've been wanting to do for quite a long
Yeah.
time. And it's all come from the thought first. So like
Yes.
writing a song, right? Oh, I'm not going to be able to write a song, communicate what I want. And then I have a whole catalog of songs that started as one little itty bitty thought, and I didn't have anything else. And I literally walk into the studio and I go, this is what I'm thinking about. And these are 4 lines I have, or these are 8 lines that I have. And then
Yes.
I just start collaborating and taking input from people because I trust the
Yes.
guy I'm working with. And all of a sudden, I walk out of there, start to finish, with a song that thematically said what I wanted to say and all that. And again, it was just a thought. So,
Everything. That's everything. That's a metaphor for life, what you just said. But you were willing to go in. You didn't say, oh, I only have 4 lines. I don't have anything else. So therefore, I won't even bring those 4 lines. It's like saying, I'm not going to play. All I have is this teeny little seed. I'm not going to plant it because
yeah,
what's that going to do?
it reminds me of the parable of the 3 talents, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and so like this guy buries it, this guy buries some of it, and one guy's like, I'm just going to see what I can do with it, and just
Yes.
goes out and tries things. Because part of it is that you have to trust that there are people around you who do care. We're talking about people who don't want us to succeed, right? That's like an undercurrent in this, and that's can happen, sadly. Unfortunately, as you succeed, people get
Yeah.
upset. As you grow and change, they're going to see that thing you just did and be like, look at this one with her new car and she's looking good, or
Listen, I don't
whatever.
give a shit. I'm getting a Bentley.
Yeah,
One day, okay. I'm sorry. Let's go back. I want a Bentley. All
No,
right.
do it. Do it.
I'm doing it with
I
a
already thought,
convertible.
oh, do it. Yeah, I could
I
see it.
don't know how, but I've decided to.
I could see
Okay.
it. Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
happen.
You
It'll
watch.
happen.
Yeah.
I will watch because I work with you and we do this. So yeah, we'll get a front row seat to this happening.
Yes.
But then the other part of it too is that you can identify people in your life who do care, right?
Yes.
There are
Sure.
those
Yeah,
that
for sure.
want to see us succeed. For
Yep.
my life, you're one of them. My wife is one of them, right? I've
Mhm.
managed to curate a group of people around me who want to see me succeed. And quite frankly, if you don't, I immediately disconnect. Doesn't mean I'm out of your life, but if
Yeah,
you
I
have
got it.
some thing going on and you're not, goodbye. you know, like I'm not going to invest in that relationship. I simply don't have the time, you know?
I like that.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of people might think that's cold, but Ed Milet talked about that in one of our calls. He talked about the importance of auditing your relationships and to really be, you know, instead again, that's that idea of going blindly through life, living a life you don't want to live with people you don't want to be with, and going places you don't want to go, working where you don't want to work. Like he's talks about, like, you know, take an audit. Who's in your life and what is the meaning of the relationship? If it's somebody who is an anchor, like we were saying before we started recording, like if there are people in your life that are anchoring you to mediocrity, because in mediocrity, there's safety because people like people who are the same. People like people who are not reaching higher than they're reaching because it makes them feel badly. So it's like, in order to be liked, sometimes it's almost like you have to sacrifice your destiny or your excellence to keep people in your life or keep people loving you or not feeling threatened by you.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing, what, you know, I guess the message is like, and I've been hearing it a lot. I hear it from both the Ed and Andy. I do hear it a lot. And from the people I know, like the people who, when you watch people succeed, like you then can see, that should tell us, oh, that means I can do it. Wow, they broke the barrier. But we immediately, because of core beliefs, because of these lies in our mind that we've just believed, that, oh my God, and there's something else I have to say, and we also have to go. But I have to say something important, that we are destined. We believe, this is the myth, and this is what we want to wake up from also. This is like a little of the neuroscience part, is that literally we believe that we're born this way and we can't go further. That's what we were saying about all the kids in the auditorium and the adults in the auditorium. That basically, what I want to tell you, in this science to prove it, and I wish I had a moment because I actually have it written down in this book, Carolyn Leaf's book. It talks about, I'm going to see if I can quickly do it. I'm going to just throw a few nuggets out there because I want you guys to hear it. One of the things she says is that daytime thinking is a building process, whereas nighttime thinking is a sorting process. So we're supposed to be building during the day with our thoughts, but then at night, lower down and rest. That's one of the things. I should plug something I do is Brain Tap, because it's a thing that we do where we help people move through their brain waves from daytime thinking to the idea of sorting and resting your brain so your brain can categorize and organize things, right? There's this other thing that she describes here. She says, thinking creates signals. This signal you have just created through the membrane of the cell. So that's a thought, right? So this is what happened. Your thinking has just created a powerful signal that is going to change the landscape of your brain. And it literally does it. A thought changes the landscape. So every thought is making a difference in your brain. You can, I was going to say catastrophically change your brain through negative thought. You can destine yourself to sickness, cancer, bad relationships, no money, debt, just by thinking. And then she says here, the signal you have just created passes through the membrane of the cell, travels to the cell's nucleus, this is a lot of details, and enters the chromosome, activating a strand of DNA. Just hear me on this. The DNA is zipped up, almost as if it is a cocoon, until activated or unzipped by that signal. So our DNA is zipped up. It's in a little cocoon. When we have a thought, it gets activated and unzipped, the DNA. This cocoon, when the DNA is zipped up, it is in a dormant or an inert state. The cocoon also protects the DNA from the rest of the intracellular environment, which is the inert state. This is a little too complicated. Okay. The DNA has to be opened. Do you understand this? So in order for the appropriate genetic code to be expressed, it has to be opened, and it is opened through thought. As it is opened, the code is read. Okay? The thing about what happens, I'm going to try and cut through this. This is called genetic expression. And these proteins you have caused to be built hold the information you have just, like what I just read to you, it creates a memory if you take it in. So the thought allows for a genetic expression, you understand? Which is like this thing happens with RNA, that it's like a photocopier, which creates a memory. And these are the building blocks for, like Ryan describing, making a song. Okay? So this is the thing. Well, I'm sorry, guys, I'm reading to you. What you have done when you do that, you've created an actual substance. So thought creates an actual physical substance in your body. Our entire body is filled with those substances. From the time we start thinking, all the meaning we're attaching to things, identity that we're putting on things is creating substance. That substance is creating genetic expression, which is creating, and this is where the myth is. Oh, your dad died of a heart attack. Your dad's died of a heart attack. Oh, that means you're dying of a heart attack. That is bullshit hockey. I'm not allowed to curse. Okay, so what I'm telling you is that our thoughts will create anything, okay? Bad things and good things. That's where we want to align ourselves with the goodness on earth. The goodness, I think, of God, of all things right and good on this earth. We want to align ourselves. Talks about that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Right? Correct. I'm on a rant. I got to go. But I'm going to ask you guys, Ryan, we are plugging Ryan. Ryan has a band. Ryan needs support. Okay. You guys got to listen to Ryan's voice. It's pretty amazing. So Ryan, tell them about your whatever it is you do, tell them.
The name of the band is Fellow Feeling. You could find us. Yes. Yeah.
I'm repeating it. Fellow Feeling, Ryan Albrecht. Check it out.
It's in theme with stuff. So yeah, it's on Instagram. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. Literally anywhere you would listen to music, it's there. So
if they punch in Fellow Feelings, just Google it. What will happen? Will you be seen?
Google it. Maybe. I actually have never Googled my own band. But if you're in your Spotify or whatever thing you listen to music on and you do Fellow Feeling, you will find the band and the, I don't know, 10 or so songs we have released.
Can you just support Ryan, please? Can you listen? I don't know. Do you subscribe? Can you subscribe to us too? Well, Danielle asked us to ask, so we're asking. And we're asking that you not only subscribe to our podcast, but that you would review it. And we also ask if you would consider putting it, plugging us, putting it on your page, because what we want to do is we want to help as many people as we can. We want to give people a leg up in life. I don't want to go to my grave with the things that I know. And if I can help one person anywhere, and Ryan feels the same way, we want to do it. If you could also, I also have, we both work at Lager Counseling Services. We do virtual counseling, and we also have an unbelievable team. We have art therapy. We do, basically what we do is we don't just work on the symptoms. We believe that there is always a solution and that we never live in the problem. We believe in excellence, so we help people work through their brokenness in the deepest way that we possibly can, validating, hearing, finding the problems. And then what we do after we do that, then we lead them. Once they have coping skills, once they know and they're healed up enough, we don't stop there. That's when we step on the gas. That's when you're going to get to your excellence. We do not believe in, okay, now you're symptom free and like you have a mediocre life. Okay, see ya next. No, F that. Okay. Then the other thing, I'm plugging myself. I don't even care. Hey, we are excellent. It's the truth. We really are. Okay. So, and I also have, because for me personally, I have a really long waiting list. So, but I have people who I handpick who are therapists. But When people can't see me, I have a digital program. I have one on personal development. And in that digital program, basically what it is you go through 5 basic lessons or sessions first, where you go through what's your blueprint financially, emotionally, spiritually, vocationally, socially, relationally, and you go through all these different areas of your life. Then we pull out the core beliefs and the thought distortions and the feeling addictions. Then after that, after you really do an in-depth work on yourself, then what we do is we go into how to use your imagination, how to use visualization, the power of decision making, and all the success hacks that people in personal development are doing. But we add the therapeutic component that is really, really, really like deep. This gets it done, because people succeed to a certain degree. And then what ends up happening, because they haven't dealt with the underbelly, the infection underneath that keeps bringing them back to the old spot, what ends up happening is they're like, wait, I do everything. And they're on that personal development roller coaster where they're at every conference, they're doing everything, but they're better for a while and they succeed for a while, but then they lose it. So I'm telling you, it's a great program. It's me doing it myself. It's very down to earth. I really don't do anything super, super hyper polished. It's just not my style, but you're going to get your shit done. The other thing is that I also have a digital program for a mom's group. Moms who are moms of adult children, and the challenges of the transition of who the hell am I as a mom after my kids are grown. So I have that digital program. The other thing is we are building a digital program for eating disorders. We're building a digital program, yes, for all different areas of struggle. For ACOA issues, we have a program, and basically they're videos of me just talking and teaching on each subject and helping people work through adult children of alcoholic things, eating disorder problems, body image problems, blah, 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 blah. I just plugged the shiitake out of myself. Okay, so thank you so much. And you got to listen to Ryan. So this is where you can find all of that stuff, the digital program. You can find it at AllisonAnswers.mykajabi, which is KAJAB as in boy, I.com. AllisonAnswers.mykajabi.com. You can find our podcast there. But what I want you guys to do, please support us, because we want to get our word out. I want to thank you so much for listening. And please comment, say hi to us. We want to get to know you. Ryan, what do you want to say, buddy?
I just want to say thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Till next time.